All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to explore how two absolutely incredible molecules, the very blueprints of life, are helping us solve some of the biggest mysteries in our oceans, especially when it comes to fisheries.
I mean, think about that for a second. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, doesn't it? You find one tiny little fish scale, and from that, you can somehow figure out its entire life story, its hometown, its family, even its medical history. How is that even possible? Well, it's not magic, it's science, and we're about to break down exactly how it works.
The secret to all of this, all that information, is packed inside the very code that builds every single living thing on our planet. We're talking about the fundamental instruction manual for life itself. And that brings us to the first of our two molecular superstars, DNA. The best way to think about it is like a master blueprint for a building, or maybe an enormous cookbook that has every single recipe you could ever need to build and run an organism. Really, its whole purpose is to be a super secure, long-term information vault. DNA's one big job is to just hang on to all that genetic information, keeping it safe and stable for the long haul. It's the master copy, and it's locked away for safekeeping. And, its physical structure is just perfectly designed for this job. That famous double helix shape, it's not just for looks. It's like an armored shell protecting the precious code on the inside. Combine that with a really stable chemical backbone and these strict pairing rules, A always goes with T, G always with C, and you get a system that's incredibly durable and makes it easy to create perfect copies. It is truly built to last. But here's the thing, a blueprint is totally useless if it just sits in an archive room forever, right? You need someone to actually take those plans to the construction site and get to work. And that's where DNA's crucial partner comes in, RNA. As you can see, they're a bit different, and those differences are key to what they do. So if DNA is the master blueprint, think of RNA as the busy contractor, the messenger, and the factory worker all rolled into one amazing molecule. RNA is the one that gets stuff done. Now, unlike DNA, RNA is usually single-stranded and it's a lot less stable. But that's not a flaw, that's a feature. Its instability is actually its superpower. Because RNA's job is all about short-term gigs, like carrying a quick message from the boss. It's designed to be made, used, and then recycled. It's like a disposable memo, not a permanent stone tablet. And this just shows you how versatile RNA is. It's not just one thing, it's a whole crew of specialists. You've got messenger RNA, that's the courier who runs a copy of the recipe out of the main office. Then you have transfer RNA, that's the helpful assistant who goes and fetches all the right ingredients. And finally, ribosomal RNA actually helps build the machinery that puts it all together. What a team. Okay, so we've met our blueprint, DNA, and we've met the versatile crew, RNA. So now let's look at the actual process. How do we get from a line of code to a living, breathing creature? It's this beautiful two-step process. First up is transcription. This is where a little segment of the master DNA blueprint gets copied into one of those temporary mRNA messages. Then comes translation. That message travels out to the cell's protein factory where it's read like a ticker tape and a protein is built piece by piece. This flow of information, from DNA to RNA to a protein, is so fundamental to all of life that it's called the central dogma of molecular biology. It's the basic operating system that turns a static piece of code into real living action. Okay, so now that we've got the basics of the molecular machinery down, let's circle all the way back to that salmon scale. How do we actually use all this to solve real-world puzzles out there in the ocean? First up, we can use DNA as a kind of genetic GPS. I mean, think about it. Just like people from different parts of the world can have distinct genetic markers, so can fish from different rivers or specific parts of the ocean. So by looking for these unique genetic markers in a fish's DNA, scientists can trace it all the way back to its home river with incredible accuracy. This is absolutely game-changing for managing fisheries, for protecting endangered populations, and for making sure we make smart conservation decisions. It's how we ask that fish, so where are you from? Okay, so that's location, but what about health? Just like us, fish get sick. And all those viruses and bacteria, well, they have their own genetic code too. Some use DNA, but a lot of fish viruses actually use RNA. Using amazing techniques like PCR, scientists can basically do a search for the unique DNA fingerprint of a known bacteria. And with a slightly different method, they can find the RNA fingerprint of a virus. This gives us a super fast, super accurate way to diagnose diseases, which can help prevent huge outbreaks in both wild and farmed fish populations. So we can track them, we can check if they're sick, but can we take this a step further? Can we actually use this incredible genetic knowledge to help raise healthier and more sustainable fish? And the answer is a resounding yes. It's called marker-assisted selection. By finding the exact DNA markers linked to good things like fast growth or natural resistance to a disease, breeders can make much smarter choices about which fish to breed. This isn't about genetic modification. It's about using genetic info to make traditional breeding way more precise and effective. So you see, it all comes back to this. All of these incredible tools, tracking fish across the globe, diagnosing disease, breeding healthier populations, it all boils down to the amazing partnership between these two molecules, the stable DNA blueprint and the dynamic get-it-done RNA messenger.
And there you have it. We're back to that single scale. It wasn't magic after all. From that one tiny sample, the DNA tells us the fish's origin story and its family tree, while the RNA can give us a snapshot of its current health, like whether it's fighting off a virus. A whole world of information, all written in the language of life.
It's pretty incredible when you step back and think about it. We have learned how to read the book of life. The technologies we talked about today are just scratching the surface. And that leaves us with a really big, profound question to think about. Now that we can read the code, how and when should we choose to edit it? Thanks for joining me.